Thrift Store Dave here. Found out about a last minute estate sale where they are very motivated to sell and it's private. So I'm gonna see what I can find. Tons of Tilley and durables hats I might be able to get in bulk.
Okay, come on, to the point.
Let's see what we got upstairs. A lot of clothes expected. Interesting, some suits. I take a look at those. There's some jackets. They're vintage. So I'm not quite sure about a lot of women's clothing, but when I see something that's new with tags, I'm gonna look up comps and probably grab it if the price is right. Got some outdoor patio stuff, some baby boots. Those look interesting. Then we're gonna go into the basement from outside. Basement's here, says I gotta watch my head.
Hell yeah.
Lots of goodies and toys over here. Baseball bats. This place is packed. Got some tin Mark's toys. This is the retail price. We would see if he'd be able to deal. And a lot of vintage Christmas and Disney. Okay, so I just got out and it was a little bit disappointing, but not too bad. This ended up being a house that's up for sale and a person's doing it as an estate sale, but he labeled everything in the store at retail price. And then he was willing to negotiate down based on how many items he bought. So I was able to get a few things, but with the cash that I had on hand, I wasn't able to get everything that I wanted. Got half price of retail and better than that in some cases, but maybe a little less meat on the bone than I'm hoping for. Still, it wasn't too unproductive of a visit. I'm gonna show you what I got. Okay, so I'm back home in the man cave and wanted to kind of explain, some of this might be repetitive, but some of it will be fresh, kind of my mindset as I was negotiating with this person who is also a reseller. When you do this, it takes some guts, and if you're not used to doing it, you've got to practice because it's scary at times, but it's also exhilarating. And so my thinking was, I had nothing to lose. He could always say no. And as long as I was speaking my mind and sharing my reasoning about what I thought things were valued at, then he could say no, but I wouldn't be a jerk in my own mind. And he didn't treat me like one. Okay. So when I went to the sale to begin, he explained everything is marked full retail, but the more you buy, the more I'm going to discount. And so that was kind of a red flag for me. But I figured, you know what? There's a lot to dig through here. Let's take a look and let's just see. Okay. So I found a whole pile of things. I knew it would cost more than the $80 that I had in my pocket, but I intentionally brought $80 only. I wasn't going to overspend, and I wasn't going to use a credit card and spend even more just because I'm tempted, unless there was something that was a much, much better deal. So I approached him with a whole pile of items. He looked through them all, tallied them up, and said something like $200, and then I just stopped listening. And I told him, okay, you did, mention bulk discounts, and some of these are, he's like, well, these hats, and I've got the hats right here. He's like, these are Tilley's and durable hats. And these are like $50 to $60 hats. And I'm like, true, new with tags, but these are not new with tags. They're used. Some are cleaner than others, and some have writing in them. And so I think $10 a hat is more reasonable, ideally less than that. So I'm going to pick from the stack of 10 hats that I had found which ones I think I would like, and I'll agree to your $10 a piece for those. And he's like, oh, okay, because he didn't realize that some of them had writing. This one didn't. It's a beautiful bright yellow. I'm hoping I'm gonna get $40 for it, but if I don't, I only paid 10 for it, so I still have good margins. And of that pile, I was able to get 4 of those hats. So I focused and prioritized on ones that were not stained and did not have the previous owner's name written in the center of them. But I have sold a Tilley's and durable hat before, so fortunately I knew what I was talking about, and I was able to express that to him, so it made him more inclined to negotiate. So his pattern, and I'm good at pattern recognition, was to take all of his retail prices and just cut them in half, because that is a deal for someone who's going to buy something to own. But again, I had pre-announced that I'm a reseller, and so I would need better margins than that. So I was looking for items that even half price, I would be able to pay, less than what I think it actually could be worth. So it could be worth more than that. So this is another piece that I got. It is not a gun. It is not a cap gun. It is a toy rifle. And he had marked it as $20. And the brand is Trainer Rifle by Paris Dunn, okay? And I looked up comps, and varying in condition, these can go for $40 to $50. So at 20 bucks divided by 2, 10 bucks, definitely a lot of margin. When I had to pick and choose what I was gonna buy from that pile, I remained calm and I remembered this one was gonna have greater margins. He also kind of misestimated at times and thought that I was gonna pay $10 a piece for certain vintage clothing pieces. One piece I balked on because he marked it $40. So it's a really cool 60s with runners nylon jacket, but it didn't have a recognizable name brand attached to it. So I couldn't in good faith pay 20. I told him my reasoning behind it and he kind of backed down and was like, okay, I get it. But I did tell him, based on your reasoning of half price for other items, I would pay $5 a piece for these other clothing items. And he agreed to that because that was kind of what he had said. So one was this interesting dress. Now, I don't buy a lot of women's clothing. I'm very uncomfortable doing it because I don't know what I'm doing. But at $5 a piece, I can take chances. And this was a dress that, based on its tag, looked like it could have been from the 70s. It's called Leslie Faye Knits. There was a lot of brands that come and go. But what's cool about it is it's like a shimmery purple, long, body-hugging kind of dress. And it's got these interesting rhinestone accents at the front. So very elegant. Again, for $5, my hope is someone's gonna buy this as a vintage dress. I just have to learn how to measure it. If Crow's Thrifty Finds is watching and you can help me, please drop a comment. Let me know, how do you measure dresses? How do you look up what brands? Is there any kind of methodology to this, or is it like any other vintage clothing? Because again, for the price, I couldn't ignore it, okay? Similar, also was able to get a couple other pieces of clothing. I got a vintage paisley pattern shirt, and very interesting, probably based on its tag, it was Wayne made, so it dates to like the 60s from what I looked up. This is, even in its used condition, I'm hoping a $20 plus piece. And then, again, I don't know much about skirts either, but I looked up Pendleton, and I noticed that this was a Pendleton skirt that was new with tags, and its retail tag suggested $118. So my thinking is, at a store this would sell for $40. Even if I sold it for less, I paid only $5 for it. So I knew I would profit from it. While people aren't buying a lot of business wear and blazers, so I ignored those in this estate sale. Skirts are still worn pretty regularly at work. It's still a way to dress up without being super formal dressy with a sport coat. The last two items I'm going to show you that I got for my $80 total. One was one more hat. It was another Tilley Endureables, but it was a felt hat. So these are a little dressy, not sure exactly if they're as popular, but again, inside there was no writing. So this is basically lightly used. I can run a lint roller on it, and for $10, I know that it's gonna go for much more. And if not, I was only in it for $10. This last piece was interesting. It was a cute little 60s era Snoopy toy. Again, he had marked it $40 full retail. And that and the hat, I had told them at the point in our negotiations, I have 15 bucks left of all the stuff in front of us here. What do you think I can take with me today? And he looked at this and that, and I told him there were other plushes that looked interesting but were overpriced. And he handed me this, and I admittedly have not done comps on it yet, but I know it's worth more than $5 if you count this hat as 10 bucks. So again, overall, I spent $80. I'm hoping with all of these items yet to be discovered what they're worth, I'm gonna make at least over $200 profit. So it was worth zipping out there and back for an hour today on my Saturday. And yeah, so if you wanna follow with me and see what these go for, there's a couple ways to do it. You can check out my eBay store, which is LC208. You can check out a future video of mine when I tell you what these things sold for. I like to do videos periodically of what I bought and what I sold things for. So like this video, it might suggest more of them for you, and please subscribe and you'll be notified of future launches. Okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time on Thrift Store Dave.